After Tottenham travelled to the deck had and absolutely battered Manchester City 4-0 in the Premier League, some pundits have woken up and smelt the coffee and realised that Tottenham Hotspur are not just here to make up the numbers in the Premier League. They're here to be a force to be reckoned with. But obviously, in previous weeks, our form has been patchy. We've lost to Ipswich but beat City. We've beat Villa but lost to Palace. It really doesn't make sense when you actually look at it in the grand scheme of things. But today on the Sonny Talk Spurs YouTube channel, I'm going to be reacting to some of the best and worst takes from pundits after the Manchester City game and asking the question of Gary Neville and Jamie Carragher right about Tottenham Hotspur. But if you are new to the Sonny Talk Spurs YouTube channel, then drop us a like, subscribe and hit the notification bell and leave your comments down below. Do you agree with the likes of Carragher, Neville, Sherwood and Walcott? So yeah, apologies first of all, I didn't do a reaction initially to the game and I have reason for that. I went out, I watched it, I enjoyed it in a pub, and obviously after you've had a few too many bevs, you're a bit hungover the next day. So I apologise for the late upload on this one, but we've come with a bumper special today. I'm going to be talking about the game. I'm going to be assessing the fallout from it. I know it's been a few days, but we're still talking about it and we're still bloody happy about that result, aren't we, chaps and chapettes? But yeah, it was quite an interesting game, wasn't it, first of all? Because, as I said in the intro there, our form has been very hit and miss. I've called us the roller coaster. We've been Jekyll and Hyde. We've been Robin Hood FC. It's very confusing to be a Spurs fan at the moment. But, as many of you know who have subscribed, and if not, get down below and do that now, I have been a massive fan of Ange Postecoglou. I've backed him all the way. I've never been Ange out. But this is the result that proves that you know, there's no right to doubt the manager. We're going in the right direction. And, you know, off the back of this, many different pundits have had their say on the matter at hand, the result, obviously, as well as, you know, the current situation at Spurs. So we're going to get into them a few now. I mentioned the names, obviously, at the top. But we'll start with former Tottenham midfielder Tim Sherwood.
I'm just pleased for the manager because, you know, I'd have to say there's probably a 50-50 split on Tottenham fans who either want him or amazingly want him out. It's incredible. I can't believe it. Shame on you guys for wanting this guy out. This guy, for me, is a breath of fresh air, what Tottenham needed. And he needs results like this to convince a lot of the fan base that he is the main man. For me, give him time, give him the money, give him a few transfer windows, got a clear identity. He will win trophies at this football club, but he needs to be given time to be able to do it. And today is a good reminder for a lot of the fans out there who are ringing up these phone-ins to say, we want our manager out, this guy's not good enough. Believe me, he is good enough. He is a top-drawer manager who's got different ideas to the majority of managers in the Premier League.
And I think, you know, Tim Sherwood is quite funny because we know what he said in the past about certain things in regard to Spurs. He went in on Pedro Porro saying he wasn't good enough a few seasons ago. But, you know, in this take, I disagree firstly that the fan base is a 50-50 split on Ange Postecoglou. I'd say it's 10%, you know, who are just maybe unsure as well about is the Australian good enough to take Spurs forward. But basically, he's saying how much of a statement win the Man City victory was and how, you know, you'd be foolish to be against Ange Postecoglou. You know, we wanted this attacking football. We were annoyed about how we would play under Conte, how we would play under Mourinho. And I think the perfect example after this game is, you know, a lot of people in the lead up to this at work, like at TalkSport where I work, were saying, you're going to beat City. You do. That's what you do. But we didn't just beat them this time around. We didn't just, you know, have 2 shots on target, win 2-0, they had 40 shots. We decimated them. We absolutely obliterated them. And we've done that twice in this 5-loss run that City are on at the moment. And it goes to show that on our day, Spurs can be unstoppable. If, you know, the players like your James Maddisons, like your Dejan Kulusevskis, your Solankes, if they're all pulling in the same direction, which I think they are under this manager, we can achieve whatever. And, you know, I was at the Ipswich game and I watched the Palace game as well. We didn't have that fighter mentality that day. It was not there whatsoever. So to see this in this sort of game of this magnitude, where we've just come off an international break, 2 weeks without any football after the dismal home loss against Ipswich, you've got to be proud of that display. So I think Tim Sherwood's spot on with his assessment there. Really, really do back what he says. So we'll move on now. And the next pundit is Gary Neville. And Gary Neville had 2 really good things to say. But we'll start with his first thought on the Tottenham result in general and the direction the club is going in.
I was going to say Tottenham fans will probably be screaming at us, what about us? Justifiably as well. How do you explain that then, that a team that before the international break can become the first team to lose to Ipswich in the Premier League this season, can then just a fortnight later come and be the first team to beat Manchester City here in 2 years?
It's that thing of consistency and reliability, Robert. It really is. It's the thing that everyone searches for in life. That, one thing I thought happened today, and I thought it at half-time, and you were right, Pep Guardiola will have gone for City's players at half-time and said, come on, we'll win this game, we'll get one back against Spurs. We saw them at Brighton, you can do it. But I think Ange Postecoglou will have been in the Spurs dressing room at half-time today, wandering round every single one of them and looking at them in the eye and saying, no, not again. We cannot come off this pitch today without 3 points. We cannot lose faith in ourselves again and sort of build this distrust even further and this inconsistency line and this flaky Spurs line even further. We have to stop it. And to be fair, I think he set them up really well in the second half. Amongst the fact that he will have told them in no uncertain terms, I think, maybe in a calm way, but he'll have definitely made that point to them about how he wanted them to be in the second half. But from a tactical perspective as well, I thought that the 4-5-1, which was a lot more rigid in the second half, a lot more compact, they allowed them to play around the edge. Similarly to how Arsenal did it here a month or 2 ago when they had 10 men. They allowed City just to play around the edge. Now, City got a couple of chances. But the discipline from Spurs in the second half and the focus was fantastic. Their confidence on the ball, their ability to counter-attack, but most of all, their competitiveness and their diligence was really important. James Maddison, I said it as he came off, not just James Maddison, this whole Spurs team have set themselves a standard in the second half of this match. On game management, being able to withstand attack after attack after attack, focusing and concentrating and staying together and being compact, in terms of your spirit, but also in terms of your positions. They've set a standard. They've set a standard. When they get into a situation in a few weeks against a lesser team, another Brighton, if you like, who are a fantastic team, but, when Brighton came back against them, they can't let that happen again. You have to be compact, you have to be diligent, you have to be concentrated in every single second of every single football match. In every single second and every single minute of training, and the intensity can't stop. And the intensity of those Spurs players in that second half grew the more they got confident and encouragement in themselves that we can actually do this. We can do this, and if you can do it here, you can do it anywhere. So that's what they've told themselves today. And if you go back now into the dressing room of Ange Postecoglou, his message at the end of the game is, that's the standard. Forget the goals. Forget the beauty of the football at times. I know you can do that. We all know you can do that. It's the other bit that you've proven today. Keeping a clean sheet at Manchester City. The goalkeeper coming out and catching it and a bit more composed in the second half. All those things are more important or as important as the bits that we know they can do. And I think that's what Spurs have proved themselves today. But we have to watch them again in the next few weeks and see whether they go and fall back into their old ways. And that's what Ange Postecoglou and the players have got to try and guard against. It's a great night tonight for them. Fans that I actually had lunch with a Tottenham fan today, believe it or not.
Did he pay?
No, I paid because it was in Manchester, and he was fearing the worst. But he's gone home tonight, and I'm thinking, you never know. And you've got a good record. You've done some good things here at City, but it's a glorious night for Spurs, and they're a good team. And I like Ange Postecoglou. I love the football, but they've got to get that other bit right, that fight bit. They've got to do that all the time. If someone was calling you flaky, someone was calling... What's the other nicknames that they have for Spurs?
That's just Spursy, isn't it?
Yeah, get rid of it. Get rid of it. Don't have it anymore. Be the team that breaks that sort of... that pattern that's existed for many, many years. Why are Spurs like they are? Why are they inconsistent? Don't be inconsistent. You have a choice every single day to actually, be the concentrated, focused, disciplined, hard-working team that you were in that second half, or not be it. You might as well be it if you're going to be out there. And that's what they've done in this second half. So it's a really good second half, a really good day for them.
So Gary has made it clear on the few videos I've done like this, he's a big fan of Ange Postecoglou. He likes the way we play. He probably would like this to be replicated with Ruben Amorim at Manchester United. That goes without saying. But I think what's interesting in this is, again, that talk of mentality shift, that talk of, and he can speak from experience from the Sir Alex Ferguson days of like knowing how to really change that Spursy condition that, Ange Postecoglou and the Spurs team would know we've been 2-0 up at the Etihad before and lost 4-2. We've been to Brighton the other week and been 2-0 up and lost 3-2. So it is what it is. It's changing that mindset. And Ange Postecoglou, one, knows how to change it because he's done it everywhere. And two, I just back him so much. And I just can see there's those little tweaks of all these players want to die for this manager and pull in the same direction. And I just love it. I just think it's so, so good. And I, again, have to agree 100% with Gary Neville because I think he's spot on here with the assessment of it, with, the idea of what Ange is trying to do, what he's trying to achieve, playing this Spurs way, this attacking way of, and we saw against City, we defended well, we were regimented, we played them off the park. It was absolutely phenomenal and I couldn't be any more prouder. But the second point Gary Neville goes on to is about James Maddison. And James Maddison has been an interesting topic this season because I think he's been all right. I think he's been okay. I did a tier list recently ranking the players. I think it's a bit skew-whiff now after this result. But, it's a good thing to see that, James Maddison didn't do what he did against City, against West Ham, and he was subbed off for it. But can James Maddison do this week in, week out? Can he not just do it on his 28th birthday? Well, Gary Neville had his say.
And from James Maddison's personal point of view, if he is to get his England place back, does he have to show, as you've just suggested, that not only has the penny dropped today, but it drops consistently and that he maintains that benchmark performance?
Yeah. We love his character. We love his personality. We love seeing it when he scores. But to be a serious football player, and he has got the potential to be a serious football player, he needs to do what he did in that second half, and that's be tenacious. Pep Guardiola came here and turned Kevin De Bruyne and David Silva, two of the most glorious, beautiful midfield players, into fantastic defenders. It's not mutually exclusive. You don't have to be a great attacker or a great defender. You can be both. You can work your backside off for your team and be a fantastic defender and also be a creative genius. We've seen it over the last 10, 12, 30, 40, 50, 60 years. Some of the greatest players I played with were also the greatest spirits. I'll name one, Wayne Rooney. Fantastic. As soon as he gave the ball away, he was like a kid in the street trying to fight for it back. And that's what he's done in the second half, James Maddison. And that's what Spurs did in the second half. But James Maddison in particular we're talking about now. Don't be... I'm trying to think of the right phrase. Don't be the maverick, the one that people say, well, where do you fit him in? He's no good out of possession. He doesn't work hard. Physically, don't be that player. You don't have to be. Because David Silva and Kevin De Bruyne and other great players that play in this league and around the world, Xavi, Iniesta, think of them all that have played in that position where he played today, in that three in midfield or the one just off the front. And they're absolute dogs when they don't have the ball. And be a dog. Be horrible. And that's what I think he's proven today. It's the best I've ever seen him defend in the second half. Ever. It's the best I've ever seen him defend. On behalf of his team, but also himself. And he did a fantastic job. But next time I watch him, I'll be looking at whether he does it or whether he just thinks, no, I'm going to do that. No, don't do that. Don't do that. Carry on as you are. You'll be an England player because no one can touch him. All those players that we've got for England that are fantastic, he's amongst the best of them when he played. He absolutely ran that game for the first 10 minutes of the second half, and he set the tone for Spurs to get that first goal in the second half and go 3-0 up because he got on the ball and showed courage. That's the bit we know he can do, but then he showed the other side.
So is there an element of you that maybe thinks, all very well showing this against the Manchester Cities of this world, but you've got to show that against the Ipswiches of this world as well?
Well, you do. I mean, that's obvious, but and sometimes it can be getting yourself up for those sort of smaller games. I'm trying to think of this idea that you have to get yourself up for every game. the big games come with a heightened anxiety and heightened feeling of sort of preparedness. You feel like something's different that week when you're building up to a game like this. But then you play Ipswich at home, that's where you think, right, okay, I've got to switch it on. And I don't mean switch. It's naturally on when it's a big game. It's on. You can't help but it's on. You know, you see the adverts for the game, you know it's on television, you know everyone's watching, you know it's a massive game against great players. But then Ipswich at home, it's not on television. Not as many people are watching. And that's when you've got to really sort of, if you like, switch yourself on. That's where you've got to sort of go inside and think, right, okay, why am I doing this today? What is it today that's I'm not coming off that pitch beaten? And there's a real seriousness in preparing your mind for that and a mentality. Because it's danger when you start to think, oh, it's Ipswich at home. That's the danger. Never think that. Top teams never think that. Manchester City have never thought that in the last 4 years. That's why they've been consistent and won the league. So if you're Spurs, you have to really, you know, do something different in preparing for these teams that you should beat. You have to do something different. You have to find a way of preparing and create a routine that tells yourself that when you get in that tunnel, no, I'm absolutely on it today. I'm on it like I would be if I was playing Liverpool or Manchester United or Manchester City or Tottenham or whoever it is, you know, whoever you're playing for. You have to switch it on. So, yeah, that's what they have to learn, that mentality of being consistent every single week. And it isn't just a case that you'll play against the lower team and naturally be as prepared mentally as you are for you have to work at it. You have to fight for it. And that's what they have to do now, these Spurs players. They've got a lot of talent. They've got a great pattern of play and a manager who knows how to set a team up.
But yeah, this is the first time in ages. I'll talk about mentality. It's the first time all 11 players have played out their skin in a long while. It's the first time Tottenham have put a full 90 minutes together in a few good years as well. So it was really, really good to see. And finally, the last two pundits I want to react to are Jamie Carragher and Theo Walcott on Monday Night Football from last night. And I think, you know, they had a lot of good things to say. They were mainly coming in from the Manchester City point of view. Walcott was more talking about us and how he was impressed. But Carragher was good at how, you know, he got tactical and showed how he exploited some of their weaknesses.
Oh, no, I actually really enjoy watching Tottenham because they play with so much freedom and, like we were saying about basketball, at times there's so much energy. They have some incredible talent, and Maddison, the first finish here, is where you want to see him get his goals. He's been playing a little bit deep recently, but he's a player, he's very gifted technically on the ball. I just love the way he does his pass, and it's the intent. He wants to receive the ball again in the space. It's a very calm finish. He's always very composed in that area. He's a player that I admire, and it's a player that would want to prove a point in getting back into the England team as well with the new manager and the new system. And here is where Man City are now really wounded defensively, and you can see the recovery. The numbers aren't getting back, but Tottenham, brilliant through this with Pedro Porro there. They got buns and talent, Tottenham, at this moment in time. They really do.
What do they lack then?
I don't think they're far off. I really don't. I like Solanke's signing. I think he's a willing runner, just like this man Werner now on the ball, who, you know, Kyle Walker gave him too much space, and Kyle Walker's very quick still. I just feel like he just picked the wrong player, to be fair, to be honest. But I don't think Tottenham are far off. I really don't. I had them at fourth at this moment in time, but it's just at times when your teams you expect them to win, the Ipswich, that they lack. So it's just getting over that hurdle for them. But I really think they're tough to crack, that's for sure. I like Ange, I really do.
We play now. So Tottenham have got the ball at the back. Here's Lewis, right midfield. Kyle Walker just behind him. There's your two central midfield players, Gundogan and Silva. And there's your front two, if you like, Foden and Haaland. So that's your setup to try and protect Kyle Walker when Tottenham got the ball. Now, the ball goes long. Gvardiol has to deal with that. It's so poor. But Kyle Walker's strength has never been his reading of the game or his understanding of the game. His pace has got him out of trouble. So he's looking here just thinking, Son's my man. But because he's so disconnected between John Stones, that means James Maddison now sees that space. He runs, and he's up against Gundogan, who can't run. He can't run. So he has to get back in there. But the fact Pep played him really wide with the ball as well didn't help. So he run it on from here now. So even though he's trying to protect two players, he's actually exposed Gundogan in that role. Maddison runs off him, and then you get the goal. Now we go to the second goal, and again, the system changes as we just spoke about. So you've got Gundogan in the holding role. Here's Lewis, and there's Bernardo Silva. Walker's here really wide, and Gvardiol's really wide, as we just showed on the counters. So what happens, and I go back again to Kyle Walker, we stop it now. You've got a full-back there, Guardiola. He's got his back to play. He's in trouble. Now, I know Pep Guardiola has asked you to provide the width. Can you go forward, stretch the game? But your experience as a footballer, your understanding of the game, you know your guy's in trouble. You have to come back in here because you're not gaining anything by being so wide. And you actually look at the distance between himself and Rico Lewis and John Stones, 34 yards. He has to smell the danger. And again, that's never been his biggest strength, Kyle Walker. But right now, his pace is not getting him out of trouble. So it comes inside. Guardiola again, who's involved. It's a poor pass. Kyle Walker again, he's now sprinting back. He's running back. Is he sprinting back? Can he go back quicker? He misses the challenge by a yard. This is what we're talking about. This is the fine details. He's a yard away and he starts 34 yards away from his other defenders. So in terms of Pep, he's coming up with things and trying to fix it. But it actually alleviated, the problems there. And what I would say is that this analysis we're doing right now, I did this analysis on Liverpool 2 years ago with Jordan Henderson and Fabinho. So what I'm talking about with Gundogan and Kovacic, this is not players out of form. This is not going to change. It's not. Henderson and Fabinho in those positions end up moving on. That's something. And Liverpool had to rebuild in midfield. So that's what Manchester City are going to have to do. No matter what Pep thinks of, there's not enough legs in that midfield right now to change what we're seeing as well.
So yeah, Theo Walcott, obviously from the other side of North London, very, very impressed with Ange Postecoglou. I do think, and this is where I want to finish up with this assessment in general and round it all up, is a lot of the negativity around Ange Postecoglou, I don't think is from this fan base. I think it's from rivals, neutrals and the media who think he's rude and stubborn and, changed his way. I don't think he's changed at all. I think he is quite, we know he's set in his philosophical way of playing, but at the end of the day, he has had success everywhere he goes. And people will say, but it's been Japan and Scotland and Australia. Doesn't matter because some managers have been given a chance when they haven't done anything either. Think Arteta, and look where Arsenal are now. So I just think with this manager at this club at this time, with a few more transfer windows, a bit more experience, really bedding these players, we can achieve a lot. You've got Dominic Solanke playing out of his skin. You've got Kulusevski. He's revived him and unlocked him. And it's just so good to say. He's making Ben Davies and Dragosin play unbelievably and stop Erling Haaland in the Premier League. I, for one, love this manager. I love this football club. We've just got to show it now against Roma, against Fulham, and keep going. And I know a lot of you will be thinking, what do I think of the Vicario news? Devastated. Absolutely devastated. He was unbelievable against Manchester City, but it is what it is. We've got to roll with the punches. We'll go again. Hopefully Austin gets a chance, but you got to back the boys. I love this club. Really hope they can, build on this result. And it's the catalyst to our season. We're up to 6th now. Hopefully we can keep going in that direction. But let me know in the comments down below. Who did you agree with? Who did you disagree with? As I say, get down there and I'll be in the comments section replying and reacting. But until next time, leave a like, subscribe, and also hit the notification bell. And I'll see you guys soon for another upload. Ciao.